So in this segment, we're going to be talking about an article I covered previously, but it's important to go back over it because there's certain points that are worth going back over, which is, according to the person cited in the article, Dr. McCormick, who I think was involved in the Good Friday Agreement and in the withdrawal agreement for Brexit, him saying there was no basis for the argument that cross-community voting should be required for the application of the consent provisions in the Northern Ireland Protocol. So he's saying there was no basis to ask for cross-community consent for the Northern Ireland Protocol or for Brexit. This is because international relations are not a devolved issue, as was made clear by a number of UK acts. They never asked for cross-community consent when it came to a number of international agreements, the British government anyway. So what that means is that for the protocol, the Northern Ireland Protocol, consent was not needed for its implementation. Therefore, the DUP don't really have a leg to stand on here. He says it was clear that the UK government and the EU had jointly considered the implications of the absence of cross-community consent and made a clear agreement that the protocol would continue to apply even if a simple majority in the Assembly approved. And that's baked into the protocol, that it doesn't need cross-community consent. It would need the majority of MLAs to consent to the protocol for it to carry on working. Had the government wanted cross-community consent, they should have asked for it during the 2016 referendum. They should have asked for it during the creation of the Northern Ireland Protocol. Now it's too late. You can't argue you need it now. It doesn't make any sense. He said there was evidence that the protocol does have the consent of a simple majority, both of the electorate in Northern Ireland and the Assembly. So you can argue it can go to a referendum in Northern Ireland, or it could just be a simple majority from the MLAs. It just depends on how they want to do the consent mechanism. Going through the MLAs is the easiest one, but given the fact that the majority of MLAs support the protocol, the British government might say they might need a referendum on it, for example. He does go on to say he warned that nationalists are still required to acknowledge unionist concerns. Irish nationalists and Republicans need to recognise that stability and security for all communities depends on confidence, and that it's not right that one should rub it in the other side's face, because that's where you get issues. And he's right when it comes to that sort of thing. He talks about realpolitik, he talks about the 1998 agreement. People should acknowledge that the unionist community has limited and for some at least diminishing confidence in the settlement, and that the protocol represents a very real change to their confidence. It cannot be denied that Brexit and the protocol create very challenging sets of issues, and neither was explained properly to people. Instead, they were lied to. Boris Johnson should have come clean back in 2019. That's what Dr. McCormick argues. That's what I argue as well. They should have been honest in 2019 what the consequences were. This is an article called Former Stormont Official Criticises the UK's Government over the attitude of the Northern Ireland Protocol, or their attitude towards the protocol. This was from the 27th of April. I remember covering it at the time, but I think it was worth going back over this aspect because someone pointed out to me that, the Northern Ireland Protocol and Brexit didn't need cross-community consent. So the arguments they make regarding cross-community consent do not apply here. I'd say it's worth reading this article. I'll throw it in the description as always. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.